Good afternoon, everybody. Hello, Dems and Thug. Yes. I wasn't sure if you guys were going to see that because I just made those commands, just before the stream. I didn't know if they'd show up in chat, but yes. I made commands to promote your guys' stuff. So, yes, yeah. Exclamation point Thugzilla, exclamation point Dems, just to, figures the least I could do. But yeah, I guess Thug should be a little bit more honored because your project is going to be showcased today. Thank you for the follow, by the way, Thug. I really appreciate it. So, yes, as one of you definitely knows, we are going to be playing something. I'm probably the only person streaming it on Twitch right now, if I'm being completely honest. An Atome thriller visual novel named, and Thug, please forgive me if I butcher the pronunciation of this, Amare Inversus. Please tell me that's how you pronounce it. That's how I've been mentally pronouncing it this entire time. Amare Inversus, yes. A Atome thriller visual novel. I've been following the development in Thug's Discord server ever since it was announced, and yeah, I'm definitely interested. I'm still sort of kind of going into it blind, aside from all the teasers and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it because I said this just in yesterday's stream. I generally don't really play Atomes, mostly because I'm not necessarily the target audience. But, having played Thug's other stuff and, I know the writing's going to be good and medical accuracy. Like, those are two things I can count on. So I'm definitely curious to see how this is going to go. So we've got, one second. There we go. All right. So we got it loaded up here. So, yeah. And yeah, don't worry. I already did turn the nudity off. I did turn the nudity off. That was one of the first things I did after adjusting the volume. Oh, by the way, Dems. Unless something else went wrong. Why did those emotes not show up? That's interesting. It's just showing, it's just showing broken images there. Anyway, yeah, Dems. Yeah. What the hell? Yeah, I think your emotes might be broken, Dems. I hope, or either that, or I hope it's not on my end. I hope that's not an issue on my end, because that might be bad. Hold on. Okay, I guess emotes are broken. Okay, this is gonna be an interesting stream then, because the emotes are showing broken links. Okay, it's always something, isn't it? Always something. Okay, that's broken, but sound commands should be working for you guys now. So yes, the sound commands should be working for you guys now, in which case both I and you should be able to hear it. Unless something absolutely went wrong, which is entirely possible, but. Are you kidding me? Are you actually legitimately kidding me right now? Are you? Oh, fuck's sake. Bruh. One overlay connect. Okay, why is only one overlay working? Yeah. It's always something, isn't it? Okay, well, to be fair, the objection one is I changed that to a green screen video to actually show the objection overlay. So maybe that's the one that's broken. So I'm gonna hate myself, but are you fucking kidding me, dude? Are you legitimately kidding me right now? always something, isn't it? Probably is for the best. Probably. You're probably right. Oh well. Guess that's another thing I'm gonna have to work out because it was working perfectly fine yesterday. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Anyway, yeah, fair enough. Alright, well, I think that's enough time spent wasting on that. As long as the game itself works, I guess that's what matters. As long as the game itself is working. Does the audio balance sound good, by the way? Like, because for whatever reason, I don't know if the audio is just really high up in this game, but yeah, I'm getting really high volumes on the game audio over here. I might turn it down just a tiny bit. Alright, well, having all settled that, I think it's about time we finally give it a shot. So, this is Amare Inversus by Thugzilla. Here we go. And obviously other team members. Most especially must I tread with care in matters of life and death. Above all else, I must not play at God. The Hippocratic Oath. Great start. And thus concludes the operation. The entire operating room sighed in relief. The surgery they had performed was not difficult, but it was tedious. Everyone began to part, the medical students being the first to scamper off, eager for their first break in several hours. One sole woman stood among them all. And that makes another successful surgery, Agatha. Giving me the biggest thumbs up of them all was Sam Ashfin, my trusted technician. He was a gregarious man with a booming voice and made no effort with subtlety. Our personalities mixed like oil and water, but I had to admit he was dependable. Ashfin, we've been over this before. Call me Dr. Mala.
Yeah, same thing. Can you cut me some slack? I've run your equipment for years. You and the anesthesiologist would be hopeless without me.
Since my only surgery for today was over, I began to pack my bags. Any staff members waving hello were promptly ignored, including Ashfin rambling about his favorite cricket team. I had no interest in the sport. Great start. Great protagonist so far. Suddenly a nurse rushed towards me, clearly in distress. Excuse me, doctor. We have an emergency patient. Why couldn't people leave me alone? I continued to ignore her, though her statement somewhat caught my attention. A 22-year-old Caucasian male collapsed at work and was unresponsive. He is currently in the ER. It's hard to explain, but he's been a difficult patient. We can tell there's a problem inside, though we're having trouble determining what. You're the best with these kinds of bizarrities. Would you care to check him out? I'll consider it.
Are you sure? You just stepped out of a several-hour surgery.
And have you forgotten? I enjoy surgery. Show me this mystery patient.
But I haven't had my lunch break, nor you. You should take care of yourself, Aggie.
Let me treat you. Let's go on a mini lunch date. Hey, wait up! As we strode across the hospital, the nurse continued to explain the situation to me. Ashvin trailed behind. We were able to run a CBC and a CMP. We suspected bacterial infection, so he was put up on a penicillin IV. Oh, for crying out loud. The sphygmomanometer shows a blood pressure of 80/40. Oh, geez. Okay, I know what that means. 80/40 without improvement. Jesus, that's low. Yeah, even I know that. He's since woken up, but is drifting in and out. The nurse wearily smiled before knocking on the door. Mr. Luke Damien? In the stretcher laid a frail man with wispy pink hair. He hazily glanced in my direction, his face dreadfully pallid. Are you another nurse? A doctor, actually. Dr. Mala. Could you tell me what happened? I'm a telephone operator. I was connecting calls like usual when suddenly I was swarmed with requests. Next thing I knew, I woke up here. I was never the pinnacle of health, but this was the first time I've ever fainted. Any family history of heart disease, respiratory? None that I can recall. Heart emergencies were to be expected in infants and the elderly, but it was quite unusual for a young adult to be here. I'll figure this out, Mr. Damien. You're speaking to one of the best doctors in the country. Luke stretched his hand towards me. The sudden intimacy made me pause, but I grasped back to put him at ease. His wrist pulse was slow, but at least rhythmic. He has my name almost. Yeah. Thank you. You're very kind. We had trouble getting a proper reading on the chest ECG. Same with oscillation. All the armamentarium operators are as confused as we are. I see, it's a blessing and a curse that Thug goes for this medical accuracy, because he says a lot of things that I don't understand and that I cannot pronounce, but it's okay. We all know that there is a pulse, albeit weak. Pulling out my stethoscope, I moved the drum across his thorax. The nurse was right. There was no clear heart oscillation, but he was obviously alive. The heart has to be somewhere. What on earth was occurring inside him? I looked down to see that Luke fell back asleep. Hopefully the painkillers were taking the edge off. Without knowing the location of his heart, a blind prying probe is dangerous. There is no other option but to perform a sternotomy. I need to examine his entire cavity. Understood. We'll prepare him for surgery by tonight. I'll bring back some food. I'll bring back some food and coffee for the OR. Midnight surgeries, my favorite. I sighed. What an exhausting day. Yeah, one of the many reasons I could never be a doctor. So busy. I'll bring me some coffee too. I'd finished donning my latex gloves when the patient was wheeled in. Some staff members from the previous surgery decided to stay, including Ashvin. Machines began to chirp, monitoring the pulse of Luke's wrists smothered in ECG electrodes. The patient is fully asleep. Whenever you're ready, doctor. His pale body was completely unmarred. As long as I cut with confidence, my experience would guide me. The scalpel slid from his collarbone to his xiphoid, parting skin like water. When the sternal saw through bone. Oh, then the sternal saw through bone. Everyone crowded around with bated breaths. As expected, there was certainly an abnormality inside, but one that the room was unprepared for. Situs Inversus. Wow, what a rarity we found. Situs solidus, the left to right arrangement of the organs in normal human being. Situs solidus, the left to right arrangements of the organs in a normal human being. Anything else is classified as situs ambiguous. The arrangement of these organs is theoretically limitless, but in a majority of these cases, individuals do not live long in the world. Okay, so... Okay. Oh, so is that when the heart's on the other side of the body? Is that what that is? Or no? Oh, just rearranging. Okay, just arranging the organs differently. Gotcha. One extraordinary rare variation to defy these fatal odds is situs inversus totalis, where compared to a normal human being, the entire visceral arrangement is simply mirrored. Okay, yeah, I've heard of that before. I'd only heard of this condition pouring through my medical books, but never before have I witnessed it until today. I love your radio announcer voice. Yeah, it just felt right. It just felt right. Yeah, again, obviously it's pretty rare, and they even said, like, usually you're not going to last long, but yeah, I have heard of that being a thing before. I want to say it was in some murder mystery story, some murder mystery story where, like, that played a factor. For him to survive to adulthood was 1 in a million chance. That trickster of a heart, nestling tightly on the opposite side, had me reveling in its beauty. Hours upon hours I would stare at it. For me, it was in my biology class when I learned about fetal development. Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Dr. Mala, are you okay? She's definitely shocked. Half a dozen people were staring at me. I told you you shouldn't have agreed to this. Let's bring in another surgeon. Wait, I can do this. Sorry, I was taken aback. Shaking my head of any nonsense, I began to examine his exposed thoracic activity. His right atria looked abnormally thick, so thick that its value was probably not letting enough blood into the ventricle. It also explained the endocarditis, allowing the bacteria to propagate along the valve. Come on, Agatha, use your other hand. Everyone listen closely. I want an angiography run to better visualize what we're dealing with. I must perform a close commissurotomy on his mitral valve. Again, it's a blessing and a curse that he goes for medical accuracy here. The patient's anatomy is inverted, so all procedures must be adapted. If this slips once from your mind, the surgery will be fatal. So the mitral valve will instead be on the patient's right side. Correct. As much as an honor it was to perform his first surgery, I didn't want to disturb his virgin cavity any further. The tiny inverted heart was trying its best to beat, and setting up a cardiopulmonary bypass would ruin its feeble effort. Couldn't I just observe him a little longer? Agatha, calm down. Treat him like any other of your patients. But still, what an absolutely fascinating... What the hell are you waiting for, doctor? His life is in your hands. After that, my hands began to move on their own. It wasn't mindless or careless. It may have been some of the best work I've ever done. But like a firework, the beauty of his condition stood in front of me for what felt like a faint second. Then the staff were sewing him back together. It's like the Dark Souls of visual novels with all this medical terminology. Yeah, honestly, like, I've been able to get through Thug's other visual novels before, but yeah, but obviously this is the most... I know I praise like all the others for being like medically accurate, and they are, but this one in particular is the first one where the protagonist is actually like, our player character is actually a doctor. So yeah, I guess I should have expected more of it. Good work, everyone. I'll transport him to his room. I couldn't escape this feeling of emptiness, so beautiful yet so quickly gone. I want more. There must be more. I glanced. Oh, the look in her eyes. I love it. I glanced back to the surgical table where the scraps of his discarded valve lay. Aren't you coming? Something had possessed me. Inconspicuously, I looked down to see that I had taken a piece of me with him. Now we're getting into more or less what I was expecting. Wait until I tell my friends in India about this. They won't believe it. I thought he wasn't going to make it, but all thanks to you, he did, Miss Agatha. Whoops, are you still in doctor mode? Apollo, I'm home. What a day it has been. Oh, is she married? Or is she talking to a pet? Okay, I passed by my pet's terrarium to collapse on my bed. Oh, yeah, I see the pet tank over there. I'm no master of cardiology. I actually reached my knowledge level here. This section is... Okay, good. I feel a lot better now, because if I could barely pronounce half the things being read in the first like 5 minutes, then oh boy. You survived the intro. Good. I'm glad. I'm glad. Apollo was one of the few that I could consider a dear companion. The snake never rambled on about its day or bragged or complained. It simply was. Honestly, I feel the same way about my cats. I really do. Just like, they're not gonna judge me. They're not gonna talk about their bad days. They're just... I mean, don't get me wrong. I still want to be there for my friends and loved ones, but it's nice to have companions who they just do their thing, you know? It's nice to have a little break from that every now and then. And yeah, she would have a snake. She just screams like she would have a snake. As a lover of physiology, I also appreciated how a reptile system was fascinatingly different from a mammal's. I'll be wringing a nurse's neck if I'm given another emergency patient this week. I'm flabbergasted a third patient wasn't dumped on me today. That's the problem when you're the best at something. Everyone just runs for you for support and never gives you a break. I've been there. I began to remove my garments. Only when taking off my lab coat did I remember what I was hiding in my pocket. I should have thrown Luke's valve out. It was a biohazard anyway, no further use. Oh phew, the nudity filter is working. Good, that's good. That's good. Yeah, just for the record, I will be replaying this on my own time with the nudity filter off. Just for the sake of doing it the way it was intended, because I am that player where I'm just like, this is how the developer intended to do, so I'd rather do that. Except as a trophy, I was one of the few on Earth who had ever seen the insides of a Amare Inversus patient. This was a valuable keepsake worthy of pride, nothing more, nothing less. My nightstand was stuffed with flasks of embalming fluid from practice surgeries long past. Glad to know they could be reused. I dropped the valve in and watched the pale tissue sink to the bottom. The formaldehyde would seep into the tissue cells and keep them preserved for decades to come. This will be our secret, Apollo. Morning came. The weariness from yesterday had already evaporated and I was refreshed enough to start the day. Next to me was the valve, still in the beaker. Was I to be relieved or not that this was no dream? I began my morning routine, one that I had practiced thousands of times. Why would today be any different? It was quite simple. I tied my frizzy hair in a ponytail. A medical school classmate once told me I'd be beautiful if I put in more effort. I never understood the utility of such vanity. A pretty face did not make one a better surgeon. While I could care little about my face, I was fully aware of the beauty and value of my hands. Again and again, I clenched and released my hands, exercising each finger knuckle and tendon. The techniques required of a surgeon are so integral that any injury could be a career ruiner. Yeah, fair enough. Yet another reason I could never be a doctor, let alone a surgeon. I do not trust my hands, especially when it comes to something as delicate as a human life. Seriously, if I could just list off all the reasons why I cannot be a doctor, I would need more fingers. I'll be real. I would need more fingers to properly list all the reasons why I know I could never be a doctor. You never tested it? Well, that's the thing. Dems, you of all people should know you can test something as many times as you want, and then something happens, okay? Literally today, I tested the sounds of my stream, and now they're suddenly not working. So, you know, anything can happen once the product's released. It was. My time spent sharpening and polishing my personal equipment was just as labor intensive. Scalpels, bone saws, anything a surgeon could practice with before starting her day. All must be sharp enough to split hairs and shine like the sun. If there weren't surgeries to be performed, my next task of the day was doing patient rounds. Mrs. Danbury? Good morning, doctor. How are you? Fine. Your vitals are improving and the scar is healing well. Any pain or discomfort? Just a little at the surgery site. That is a common side effect. I'll prescribe some medication to alleviate symptoms. Till next time. I repeated this routine with each of my patients. It was mindless. Each faceless person left less of an impression than the last. Finally, I reached the door of my now newest patient. Mr. Damien? The man's hair blew gently in the window's breeze. Subjectively and objectively, he was ethereal. Extraordinarily calm, he awaited what I would say next. I decided to sit next to his bed. Good morning. How are you feeling today? Good morning to you as well, doctor. I'm just grateful to be alive. You'll have to stay here for around 2 weeks. During this time, I'll be monitoring and examining you. Why don't we start now? Take a slow and deep breath for me. In and out. I traced the stethoscope around his spine, then his rib cage. His vertebrae and ribs were noticeably visible. His respiration was also less than desirable, more akin to a wheeze. When pressing the stethoscope against his skin, no matter how gentle, a bruise erupted from the spot. Oh geez. It was an enigma of how such a delicate man remained alive for so long. Yeah, no kidding. Holy crap, dude. Has anyone told you that you're one of a kind? Really? Always seems like the opposite with how everyone babies me. While you were a fetus, your body's blueprints decided to develop your organs on the opposite side. I passed him a diagram for him to study, drawn by myself. She's a great artist. I could tell he barely understood, but I continued explaining regardless. This condition is called situs inversus totalis. While generally fine by itself, it was complicated by the thickening of one of your heart valves, which has since been fixed. It's impossible for me to remove and rearrange all of your organs, but my role in your life will be to correct any further problems if they should arise. It was fate we met each other. When it comes to this field, I am one of the best surgeons in the world. Well, she did say she's good with her hands. She did say she's good with her hands, so I would hope drawing would be part of that. Yeah. Oh, yeah, see, there you go, Devs. Yeah, yeah, we both had the same thought. Then it's great to be of your services, Dr. Mala.
Face forwards. Now turn 90 degrees to the right. Now turn that rear towards me. I swear I'm only staring at your skeleton.
I like Ashvin. I really do. I really do. The examination room was Ashvin's domain. Whatever machine you threw at him, he could understand and operate it within 6 seconds. Yeah, why am I not surprised, Thug? Why am I not surprised that he would be your favorite? Why am I not surprised? Must this lead vest be so heavy?
It's to protect your organs from melting away, but I can remove it at any time.
Sorry. While a sense of humor had no effect on me, it could melt any patient's anxiety away. A quality I could appreciate. Any doctor with good bedside manner is okay in my book, and I'd hope that'd be all of them, but you know, one with exceptionally well bedside manner is definitely good. Although Ashvin may need to try something different after seeing how timid Luke was.
In a couple of weeks, we'll be installing one of those newfangled ectocardiograms. Bet you needed it for all that boy Luke, eh?
How humorous. He wasn't wrong though. A non-invasive ultrasound to analyze a patient's heart seemed like a blessing. When the machine is installed, I'll definitely be taking more photographs of Luke.
You did great, champ. Step outside for your complimentary lollipop while the super amazing doctor over here will analyze the scans in no time.
Ashvin pressed me with the finalized x-rays. I skimmed over them for any photography defects before placing them in my satchel. Thanks, Ashvin. Though, could you develop some more copies for educational use?
You guys really struggled that much with Luke's ECG?
Weren't you among those guys?
Touché.
I know that's probably just a font error, but it's still hilarious.
Touché.
Pretty much why I sent the game in the 70s. Ectocardiogram would have caught sinus inverse immediately. Fair enough. Yeah, that's another thing I can expect from you. Being set in decades in the past. That's another thing I can expect from you. But yes, in this case, yeah, it absolutely does make sense. I brought the stack of images home ready to examine. Half of them focused on his chest, half of them focused on his abdomen. So wait, if this is set in the 70s, so yeah, theoretically she could meet Manson, and there could be an object ward crossover. And I could only imagine how batshit insane that would go. Holy shit. I brought the stack of images home to exam. Half of them focused on his chest, half of them focused on his abdomen. Lovely spine and abnormal amounts of ribs. Despite his wiry build, there was nary a hairline fracture anywhere. Most of his life must have been spent indoors. Yeah, I can relate. Kinda, sorta. Man, that is so weird though. That is so weird to think that it is possible for your organs to just be flipped, to be mirrored. It's so weird. Fluid buildup in the lungs was also a concern, but has since been minimalized. And that heart, the greatest silhouette. Quality x-rays. Ashvin really outdone himself. The clock behind me struck midnight. Was it that late already? Time flies when you're having fun. 1 or 2 of the x-rays would be donated to medical textbooks, of course, but I hung the rest on my wall. My favorite flower is the peony because it matches my hair. Fair enough. They don't bloom very long, but they are utterly gorgeous to add to a bouquet. Do you have a favorite flower? Flower? I've never thought much about them, but medicinal flowers? Oh, like yarrow? That fits you very well. Yeah, I really enjoy medicine. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, I just can't take this face seriously. I know that's probably the point, but I dare say I enjoyed watching Luke. Always polite, never raising a fuss. All the while I preferred my surgical duties. Septum defect, coarctation, even mitral stenosis. Everything but situs inversus. Take a slow and deep breath for me. In and out. I'm getting some weird kinky vibes from her. Yeah, I'm sure that was probably the point. In and out. Luke was healing spectacularly. It was almost disappointing that this was his last day here. No comment. Yeah. There would be further checkups between us, but the inferral between us would grow, eventually ceasing altogether. I couldn't let this patient go. Would it be wrong to call you my favorite patient? Blushing, Luke rubbed his arms. Is that are these like shadows on his... Are these shadows on his wrists, or is it part of like his bruising? I'm just not noticing. Yes, they're shadows. Okay, just checking. Because it almost gave me doll vibes for a second. So I'm like, okay, I know he's human, but... You've been my favorite doctor as well. You're gentle, kind, and I appreciate you taking time to talk to me. All the other doctors I've seen could care less whether I exist or not. I expect a near to full recovery in half a year. No heavy lifting. Be light when exercising. In case an emergency should arise, where do you live? I'm on Semi-Lunar Street. Is it that important to know? This is routine. All my patients asked this for their files. This is routine. All my patients are asked this for their files. What about your birthday? Your place of work? Luke answered every question with pleasure. After all, it was normal regimen for the experienced physician. Until next time, Luke. A buzz appeared in front of the hospital and away he went. For a while, Luke remained on the vehicle to gather his breath. Though the 2 weeks at the hospital were more strenuous than relaxing, he felt better than ever before. He had undergone a workplace hypoxic episode, was cut completely open, and lived to tell the tale. With a pep in his step, Luke stepped out of the bus and onto the sidewalk. The man looked left to right to make sure there were no unwanted strangers nearby. Once Luke safely entered his house, I turned off my car's engine. Oh, she dropped him off. Gotcha. Oh wait, no, she's just stalking him. Okay, that's it. She's stalking him. Yeah, I thought too positively. The house was small, nondescript. It was something I probably passed 1,000 times on the way to work. And from one of the windows, I spied him collapsing onto the bed to sleep. This was a post-hospital wellness check. Nothing more, nothing less. Sure, Agatha, sure. I returned home to peacefully sleep as well. Yeah, I'm starting to see where the 1 hour photo inspiration's coming from. My boredom was growing. After the master feat I performed the other week, now a simple repair surgery? Surely the staff could have found someone else to waste their time. I decided Luke was worth my full focus. Others could pick up the slack elsewhere. Glad to see you're here for your follow-up. Have you been sleeping or eating all right? I've been following all your orders. I'll make you proud, Doctor. So naive, so gullible, like a little chew toy. A gust of wind could topple him over. Are you by any chance sexually active? Dr. Mala, shouldn't general practitioners be asking that question? Any good physician should be asking this. Perhaps I should examine you further to be sure. For every step forward I took, he took one back. Eventually, he reached a corner. I closed in, my arm bracing against the wall. He was trembling like a little mouse. Your insurance won't cover it, but I will. Oh, I'll cover you all over. I need you, Doctor. I'll oblige. First, I must test your virility. Virility. I reached for his pants. Dr. Mala, can you hear me, Doctor? So are you sexually active? The room fell silent for my several decibels louder than intended outbursts. I found myself standing on the opposite side of the room, no longer centimeters from his face. Luke cocked at me. I love Agatha way too much. Yeah, I can tell. I can absolutely tell you had a lot of fun writing her. I can absolutely tell. I'm the same way with a lot of my characters. You aren't, right? Why does she keep making these faces? Why does she keep making these faces? I am? Why do you ask? Do I have something on my shirt? You're staring so intently. You were about to... Yes, you do. I'll have the nurses bring you a new gown. As much as I wanted to smack myself for my blunder, I was relieved how easily I could recover the situation. Since you recently had open heart surgery, putting strain on your heart is ill-advised. Just like you wouldn't run in a race, don't have sex for a few weeks. I didn't expect that response from such an effete man. I found myself far more flabbergasted with my reaction than his. Romance or sex were concepts I never thought much of. Surgeries were infinitely more meaningful to me. Moreover, he was my patient. Yes, his body was fascinating, but I mustn't let my infatuation control me. Mood. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, mood. You're looking good. Your health is looking good, Mr. Damien. Run along now until next week. I must keep a closer eye on him to make sure he was obeying my orders. After his appointment, I watched the bus drop him off at a convenience store. I followed him inside, hoping he wasn't buying junk food. He passed the sugar-dense treats and drinks, heading straight towards the adult section. Mr. Damien, what did I tell you about putting strain on your body, unless you want a heart attack? He nearly jumped out of his bones. Oh, Dr. Malo, what a coincidence. To see you again. Just buying stuff? My suspicions were correct. I could see the row of condoms behind him. He did mention being sexually active. I have my eye on you. Yes, ma'am. I couldn't stand being in this disgusting hovel any longer. I began to speed walk by the adult magazine rack, ready to beeline home, when one of the poster's women caught my eye. She was a ginger maiden, sensually covering her breasts, her lips pursed as if she had some secret to whisper in my ear. At first, I was disgusted by the bidoucherie. Why would any self-respecting woman debase herself like this? She could have been a scholar or a lawyer, but was instead choosing to exhibit her naked body like a whore. I don't honestly disagree with what she's saying here, honestly. Like, you know, I don't try not to shame people, but at the same time, like, it's one of the reasons why I'm not really pro this line of work. I'm just like, I just feel like you could do better, you know? They call it the world's oldest profession for a reason. Literally anybody can do it. I just feel like you could do better. But that's just me. Again, I don't judge people. I try not to, at least. I don't go so far as to calling them whores necessarily, but you know, the most unnerving detail was how this woman looked exactly like me. I lacked the curled hair and makeup, of course, but those red eyes bored into me. I inspected my hands that were gripping the magazine. They were nimble and delicate, born to grasp and to cut. The woman's hands were the exact same way. Did that mean I was pretty too? I shook my head. Looks didn't matter, only intelligence and skill. That woman wanted everyone to leer at her. I, however, abhorred the idea. Unless Luke thought of me as attractive as well? He was a simple-minded man whose only redeeming feature was being beautiful inside and out. So I guess his looks did matter to me. Did I want him to think of me that way? So many questions whirled in my mind, all the while I was entranced by the magazine's lewdness. Yeah, literally, inside and out, exactly. Literally. Hey pervert, if you're gonna loiter around and touch yourself, do it at home. Pervert? I am a surgeon, and you should be grateful I visited your dingy establishment. In an effort to preserve dignity, I concealed the magazine behind me. It did nothing but cause the clerk to roll his eyes. Doesn't look like it to me. I've dealt with far too many freaks like yourself, believing it's fine to steal porn mags and whack off in the corner. I am a master of the human body. Want me to prove it? A single slash to your jugular will only take seconds for you to bleed out. Ma'am, if you don't leave this instant, I'm calling security. But I want to buy it. And this makeup kit. Just take him, psycho. You're the psycho, not me. Muttering, I rushed out of the store. Oh my goodness. As usual, I practiced my carpal tunnel exercises. Joining me, however, was the poster of the naked woman in the makeup kit. My exercising and tool polishing already took hours. Did I really want to attempt this? With the meticulousness of a blade, I traced the lipstick across my lips. The curling iron gripped my hair like a forceps, forcing its prey to writhe. The woman staring back in the mirror was hardly recognizable. I looked like I was going to a gentleman's club, not a hospital ward. This was a complete mistake. There unfortunately wasn't enough time to remove it, so I was stuck like this for my morning rounds. Pretend like nothing was out of the ordinary, Dr. Mala. Are you going to an event today, Doctor? It must be important. Good morning, Doctor. Did you change something about your hair?
Wow, you look nice. Real nice,
he says, looking like that. Even my longer-term patient's eyebrows raised. More eyes were on me than ever before. I'm sure they all thought this looked strange, too. Dr. Mala, taking care of her appearance for once. What an outrageous concept. I rushed to the bathroom, catching my breath in front of the mirror. I resembled a clown. Fried, frizzy hair, smeared makeup. How could anyone think this workmanship was worthy of attention? I turned on the sink, ready to wash my shame away. A diamond in the rough is still beautiful. When she finally learns to polish, she'll be irresistible. Who said that? Your inner muse, of course. Don't you know all goddesses have one? The voice had a tranquil, light coo. I was unnerved by his placidness. I glanced around the bathroom. There was no one here except for me and my reflection, who was now naked. When did I yelped, covering my chest. Confusingly enough, I myself was still clothed. The nude apparition was no longer reflected my movements, as if it had a mind of its own. She chuckled. I saw you in the convenience store yesterday, so dreadfully lovely. I decided to help a woman in need. What was this creature? A demented fairy godmother? I never thought of myself as Cinderella. Not only was I having a rough day today, my mind was now playing tricks on me, as if I needed a muse. I washed all the makeup off. Good riddance. Oh boy. Poor innocent Luke. He forgot to close the blinds again and I could see every inch of him. I watched as his plump buttocks wormed their way out of his pants. Blue underwear looked good on him. Oh boy. This is not gonna end well. This is not going to end well. Another figure joined him, a woman. She began taking off her dress. Are you heading to bed already? I'm really in the mood today. My doctor told me to take it easy for a couple weeks. I just started work again, and that is strenuous enough. I would have said yes today, but would you believe my doctor caught me buying condoms? I wanted to die from embarrassment. What a shame. And after that, as much as you want, babe. I watched them snuggle in bed together, oblivious to my presence. I'm sorry I wasn't able to visit you in the hospital. Taking care of my dad is time-consuming enough. It was an emergency. Don't blame yourself. How about I come with you to checkups? A strange feeling was growing in my chest that could have been best described as envy. I knew what was best for Luke. I knew what was best for Luke, not this woman. I was smarter, wealthier, and healthier. It hurt seeing him so close to someone, and my distance made me want. Want. What a peculiar word. I desired him, but how so? Did I want his physical heart? Did I want him? Why must this be so complicated? Yeah, why is love so complicated? Why? Why? Why does it have to be? Why can't it just be straightforward? Whatever it was, I longed for him and I couldn't let him go. That makeup kit needed to be used again. I'll be prettier than that bitch too. Why am I so scared that the girlfriend isn't going to be breathing by the end of this story? Why am I so scared that she's not going to be breathing at the end of this story? Keeping meticulous track of Luke was a full-time job. I wanted to know everything. On the weekdays, the bus picked him up at 7 a.m. He would begin work at 8 a.m., eat lunch at noon, then end of the day at 5 p.m., which the bus would drop him off at 6 p.m. Every Friday at 6:30, he went to a pizzeria with his girlfriend. Over the weekend, he would either garden or read. The girlfriend's visits were more capricious. I can't, this is just me, I'll take the blame. irregularity. My goodness, why is that such a hard word for me to say? Irregularity bothering me. Luke didn't need such chaos in his fragile existence. I learned all the little details. The brand of soap, the type of clothes he wore, what him and his girlfriend talked about. Arugula. Arugula. The types of clothes he wore, what him and his girlfriend talked about. Is it me or were these all, okay. Okay. You need to chill. Mala, Dr. Mala, you need to chill. I beg of you, please chill. The collection of Luke's photographs were growing larger than expected. It had taken over an entire wall, creeping its way to my bedside and ceiling. Many of the photos were duplicates, but I consider them equal worth to the unique ones. I looked at my bedstand. There were older photographs memorialized in frames. A picture of me graduating elementary school, my parents happily standing behind me. Another showing me graduating college, only with my father. Then another of me graduating residency, all by myself. My face in each sequential photograph was noticeably colder. Not even the child version of me appeared truly happy. Reminiscing over the photos of myself was enough to sour my mood. Thankfully, there were better images to replace them with. I collapsed on the bed, x-rays in hand. My mind felt foggy, elsewhere almost. Unbeknownst to me, one of my hands started to slide downwards under the blanket and toward my midsection. Agatha, no. I try not to kink shame, but no. The woman on the poster sprung to life, cooing in my ear. Go on, do it. At first, a finger slipped under my waistbands, rubbing aimlessly. In all my 30 years of life, I never touched myself down there. Ignorance and instinct battled within me. My mind that didn't know what it was doing, and the body which knew what it wanted. Don't play dumb. You're gluttonous for your desires. I couldn't stop staring at his x-rays. For all my life, I've been a rule follower. Here is how the human body works. This is how you fix it. These rules kept me content for a decade of surgeries. Amare Inversus spat on the face of normalcy. Familiar yet opposing. He could never donate an organ or receive one in return. Its deviance infuriated me. I was entrapped by it in a way no condition had had throughout my medical career. Release that passion. It's welling up inside, begging to burst. My excitement turned to panting. I trembled and moved in ways I didn't understand. I wiped my sticky hands on some nearby tissue paper. The x-rays were scattered around me, equally tainted with my fluids. Oh boy. Boy. Oh boy. In all seriousness, thank you for not actually going into detail, because like sometimes I feel like stories like this try too hard to they try too hard with the descriptions and stuff like that. So I'm actually kind of glad you went with a subtle approach. If nothing else, it makes me feel more comfortable. Doing such a shameful act while thinking of him, I truly am abhorrent. Stepped out of another operation sighing. The spark of enjoyment had been gone since Luke's surgery. Is everything alright? Want to grab some dinner? My treat. I wasn't particularly hungry, but I thought back to Luke's schedule. There's a pizzeria nearby. I never considered you a going out gal. Aw, this'll be our first date. Unless you want to consider it a date. A platonic dinner it is. Oh, hot damn, he dresses nice. The smell of grease was overpowering. Little children screamed and ran around me. Why Luke enjoyed this place was beyond my understanding. So, how you doing? Currently breathing. Mood. Small talk, my favorite socializing event. I better answer quickly before Ashvin blovates about his entire life surgery. Dang, she hit it with the platonic thing, right? Yeah, not even a friend zone, just straight up. Yeah, we're just platonic. Not even friends, we're just platonic.
Interested in any sport? I used to be the cricket captain back in college.
In school, I participated in various pre-med clubs. To this day, I remain active and healthy.
Books?
I frequently read medical encyclopedias.
Hobbies?
I sew excellent sutures.
Please tell me you have a cat or something.
I own a 5-year-old milk snake named Apollo.
A pet? Thank goodness. Want some resemblance of personality.
If I was a veterinarian, I would specialize in reptile cardiology.
I spoke too soon. I'm starving. What do you want? A meat pizza?
No thank you, I'm a vegetarian.
You're a vegetarian that lives with a carnivore pet?
Apollo is biologically dependent on ingesting essential proteins from muscle. I, however, choose to abstain from high cholesterol foods. It improves my cardiovascular system by reducing the chance of arthrosclerosis, not to mention,
I'll eat enough pig for the two of us then. Oh, lighten up, Aggie. I'll order a cheese pizza. Now's not the time to be overly clinical.
Being cut off made me fume. I, for one, thought I was being educational.
I need to drag you out of that house more. It ain't normal to be cooped up all day. When was the last time you watched television or listened to the radio? No, don't say anything. I already know if you did, it's a medical drama. Damn, I'm good.
The technician roared with laughter, patting me on the back.
There's a film currently in theaters you'll enjoy. Remind me to bring you there. It's about a space colony where the protagonist is a female scientist who blah 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 blah.
He's talking about Alien, isn't he? 6:30 p.m. struck. I glanced around the room for the pink-haired man, finding him already eating with that woman. I made myself as pretty as I could. Why wasn't he noticing me? I was in plain view of their table. Or was his girlfriend hogging all of his attention? She must be responsible for dragging him to this artery-clogging factory. The sheer amount of cholesterol stuffed into that cheese was revolting. Extra fatty pork, too. I had to bring up his dietary habits in our next session. Not Alien, something made up. No, it's fine. That's fine. You don't need to apologize. It just kind of reminded me of Alien just based off that brief description and the time period. But at the same time, he was earnestly enjoying that pizza, smiling and laughing. I dare considered it cute.
And then they all drowned. The end. Such a memorable film. Speaking of which, I have to take a leak. If the waiter comes early, the cash is in my wallet. You're smart enough to calculate the tip.
Titanic? No, that was the 90s. That was the 90s, unless he's a time traveler. I rolled my eyes. I made triple what he did. Once he was out of sight, I walked over to Luke's table. Are you two eating healthy? Ah, it's nice to see you again, Dr. Mala. What a small town it is. We keep running into each other.
Oh, Luke, you poor bastard.
Indeed, Mr. Damien. And hello, you. You must be his sweetheart, hmm? Before she could speak, I continued. The reason why I asked about food is because I'd sure hate to cut you open again, so watch yourself. I noticed something during your last scan. I was going to wait until your next checkup, but I should tell you now. Another operation may be required. That last sentence wasn't entirely a lie. Mitral stenosis was not always cured with a single operation. Concern grew on his face. Oh no, do you have any openings soon? I grinned.
Aggie, where did you go last night?
Literally the next day.
I get that the person who asked is supposed to pay for the check, but I at least expect you to stay until it arrives. I didn't appreciate you just using me for a free meal. The waiters thought I dined and dashed.
Sorry, I spotted Luke by coincidence and had to talk to him. I lost track of time after that. This is one of the most unique patients I've had. I want as few barriers between me and him as possible. Forget last night and let's begin the surgery. Are you ready? Ashvin frowned, putting on his gloves and mask.
As ready as I'll ever be.
Today was a terology of phallic patient. A neonate rushed in for an emergency surgery. These surgeries were the most stressful due to the sheer amount of corrections needed, but equally the most rewarding. The anesthesiologist put the tiny mask over the neonate and I started my duty.
The disorder complexity stemmed from 4 major congenital conditions that were fatal if uncorrected. Infirmary was a vernacular septal defect, but it wasn't Luke's defect. A stenosis of the pulmonary valve, but Luke's stenosis was in the mitral valve. An inappropriately placed aorta. He could have developed that due to incomplete situs inversus, but he was miraculous enough not to. Ventricular hypertrophy again, not his. I stalled. This neonate wasn't special enough, as if tetralogy of Fallet could compare to the superior design that was situs inversus. How boring. This person doesn't deserve my best work. Why should I bother with his patheticness everywhere? I could kill it with ease. Agatha. I found myself in the surgery room again, surrounded by screaming medical staff. The neonate was going through a TET spell, rapidly turning blue. I dove into problematic pulmonary artery to widen it, returning the patient's color. And that concludes this operation. I did it. We all did it. Great team. We're stable again, but bring in another surgeon, immediately. I'm done partnering with you. What the hell was wrong with you today? You don't space out while working on a fucking baby. One by one, the staff left, including the carted out patient. Ashvin was the last, glaring at me before shaking his head and parting. What was wrong with me indeed? Congenital disorders were my specialty, with tetralogy being my favorite. I always put my life on call for them. Dozens of neonates I have saved the life of, so why did I stall? The moonlight reflected off Luke's jar, basking his valve in silver softness. Only surgeries brought joy to my life. The raw intimacy of my patients, forced into their most vulnerable state, had completely depended on me, was indescribable. I alone was their master. Was I truly becoming bored of surgeries? Was it the monotony? Indeed, a patient like Luke would never walk into my operating room again. What would be greater surgeries to aspire to? Less than 10 years ago, the first heart transplant was performed in Cape Town. Though the patient did not live for long, it was still a testament to the feats of humanity, comparable to the moon landing. I wondered what it was like to be in that operating room. How did it feel to rip the life of a body, then just as quickly return it? Would I ever get the chance to perform a heart surgery myself? Do you know why I called you here today? I heard about your behavior yesterday. It's best if you take a couple weeks off, paid leave. There were some irregularities, but ultimately it was a successful surgery. In all my hundreds of procedures, I've never once killed someone from negligence. But what if it wasn't? Are you that blind to the consequences? But it was successful. The baby lived. Point me to one surgery who has never underperformed. Why are you suspending me for one minor hiccup? Would you have suspended my colleagues? I'm the best surgeon in the country. You are begging for me to come here. I could have the pick of hundreds of hospitals. Do you think I'm too hysterical? Too much of a girl for the job? Oh, don't you fucking pull that shit. Don't you fucking pull that shit. Don't you fucking dare pull that shit. Calm down. Yesterday wasn't the Dr. Mala I knew. How about this? You haven't had a day off in 5 years. Such a rigorous schedule of work is catching up to you. Your work ethic is admirable, but maybe it is a little too much. Take a break. This is to protect you. Screw your head on right or you're dismissed. Screw your head on right. What an asshole. If only I could slash his jugular. Did you hear Dr. Mala almost botched her last surgery? Wasn't that her specialty? She looks different, more jumpy. Is she sick and covering it up? I've heard of workaholics, but if you can't handle it, then take a break. One murderous glare was all it took for them to silence. Weeks without surgery sounded like hell. Embarrassingly enough, I had to cancel Luke's surgery for the foreseeable future. Run an angiography, a venography, an electrocardiogram. Do it again. Another. Again. They had removed me from surgery, but they finally allowed me to participate in my patient's less intrusive tests and physicals. And oh boy, was I testing. Stacks of exam results were overflowing on the table, with more coming my way. I wanted a fluoroscopy of Luke next. Oh, to view his inverted alimentary canal.
More. Oh God, yes, I demand more. As I was pondering about the physiology of Luke's intestines, the patient abruptly walked out. The whine of the machines quieted down. Hey, where are you going? We've all been stuck here for hours. I told the poor boy to go home. These tests are beyond excessive. I'm sorry you can't do surgeries, but don't take your anger out on him. Look, a skull x-ray? As far as I'm aware, he has nothing wrong with his noggin. I doubt his insurance is great enough to pay for all this. I'll pay for it then. For the love of... Believe it or not, Agatha, people have lives, including you. You've been fussing over this patient too much. How about you get your mind off things? Next week, I'm inviting some of my friends over to watch a cricket game at my house. There'll be drinks and food. I'll find something meatless for you. Don't get any ideas. The pizza was a one-time thing. I can't remember why I agreed to it. I stormed off. Today was going nowhere. I was nearing the parking lot when a familiar voice made me groan. Yoo-hoo! Agatha! I missed the bus. Could I ride with you? Pretty please, with medicated sprinkles on top. I wanted to talk to you in private. It's about Luke. That last part caught my attention. I unlocked the passenger door. Do you want to be in a car wreck? Wear your seatbelt. Medicated sprinkles. Hey, well, what's worse, medicated sprinkles or Mr. Sprinkles? If you know, you know. I won't need it. It's a quick enough drive. Your funeral. The small town was soon swallowed up by the forest. We drove in silence, or at least I wished. As if to further agitate me, Ashvin cheerily hummed. Agatha, we've never been best friends or anything else, but you've changed this past year. I've never seen you this emotionally invested in your patients before. You're so social now. It's a good thing. You were always too quiet. I'm glad you've loosened up. Buddy, you have no idea. I let my silence speak for its... Oh, I just noticed he's got a cricket bat and stuff on his porch. That's cute. I let my silence speak for myself. Ashvin didn't take it very well. Stop giving me mixed signals. I'm trying to be nice here. I don't care. If you're doing what I think you're doing, not interested. Fine then, let me be direct. I know about your relationship with that boy Luke. My hands gripped the steering wheel. That he's my patient? Of course, you've seen him many times in the hospital. More concerning than that. Ever since he entered your world, you've followed him like a lovesick puppy, both inside and outside the hospital. Please wash yourself, Ashvin. In these kinds of stories, in these sorts of scenarios, it generally doesn't end well. Please, for the love of fuck, watch yourself. I've recorded his excessive tests. That's what, thousands of dollars you've spent on him? I'm surprised he hasn't keeled over from all the x-ray exposure. Or him growing a second heart. I bet you'd enjoy that. Speaking of a lovesick puppy, rumors are beginning to spread about you. He grinned, the whitest one I've ever witnessed on him. A doctor and her patient. You're a freaky little seductress, aren't you? How many others have you given a thorough examination? Please watch yourself, I'm begging you, please. Oh, fuck. I'll just keep this simple. I won't tell anyone, not a soul, if you'll have sex with me as well. Motherfucker! Motherfucker! Ah! That will get your mind off Luke. If it's so easy to put out for others, why not me? We're not strangers. You're a beautiful woman, Agatha. Why don't you put your beautiful mouth to work? What the fuck is wrong with you? His hand slid towards my inner thigh. I slammed on the brakes. Without a seatbelt, Ashvin's face smacked against the dashboard. My hands moved next, gripping his hair and peeling his face back before forcing it into the dashboard. And again, and again, and again. Yep, this is what I was afraid of. I've always hated you, incessantly hitting on me with your dogshit pickup lines, never leaving me alone, you disgusting pig! With each collision, the dashboard grew more crimson. Clumps of teeth and hair fell into the ground, and again, and again. Eventually, my bludgeoning slowed as the dark realization of what I'd done settled in. The man in front of me was hardly recognizable. A slow fluid-filled gurgle escaped his lips, perhaps a scream cut short by his crushed windpipes.
What was originally an animosity had now been replaced by dread. I looked down at my hands matted with warm blood and hair. This was not my first experience with death. I attended both my parents' funerals. As part of my training, I dissected cadavers inside and out. But for me to slaughter... Dr. Bala, you need to calm down. What's done is done. Now deal with the consequences of your impulsiveness. You're intelligent enough to resolve this. Oh boy. Okay, I feel like she would want to examine it, but the smart option is to dispose of it. So it would be impossible to explain if anyone drove by. I had to dispose of the body immediately. With no shovel, my best option was to conceal and neutralize in my home. I'll take the back road so no one can witness me. Dragging an 180-pound man inside was exhausting. That's how much I weigh. So that this feels weird. Using every ounce of my strength, I laid him down on the tarp alongside my surgical instruments. All were polished and raring for use. It was imperative to remove any identifying evidence: limbs, birthmarks, fingerprints, and teeth. Slowly but surely, the bone saw wormed its way through the femur. That's when he's still alive. That's when the carcass groaned. I paused. I'm surprised to see you're still alive, Mr. Ashvin. With a blink of consciousness, Ashvin could only shut his eyes, whimpering like a puppy. Yeah, maybe I should have examined. In hindsight, I should have examined the body first. Ashvin could only shut his eyes, whimpering like a puppy. Even without my intervention, he was sure to perish within the hour. God, you're pathetic. I'll be taking out the trash soon. Don't worry. Hey, Arcadia. How are you? Hold on. Out of curiosity. Okay, no, that's not it either. Yeah, fitting enough time you got here, Arcadia. Because now things are actually getting fucked. Shh. Just woke up, but okay, I guess. Yeah. Hey, better than awful. Better than awful. Yes, Arcadia shot depression. But seriously though, I actually hope you're okay. Really, I really do. Taking out the trash soon, don't worry. So yeah, funny story, Arcadia. I thought I got the sounds working, but as soon as I tested them at the start of the stream, I couldn't hear them anymore. So, and now the emotes aren't showing. So, I don't know what I did. Yeah, we're playing a cute and wholesome Atome game. You're absolutely correct. You are absolutely correct. As cute and wholesome as you could possibly get. By the time I finished dismembering him, I noticed that the technician had stopped breathing. I wonder which of my cuts was the final blow. His heart was worthless, a boring situs solitis, but a finger would be a good trophy. I could preserve it in formaldehyde alongside Luke's. No, I couldn't sully my jars with that filth. It wasn't worth the effort. There was a forest between Ashvin's house and mine where I could bury his remains. I spent the next several hours cleaning myself and the car. With a bleach-soaked towel, I wiped down the dashboard and any crevice where blood was splattered. My handiwork was impeccable. Not a drop remained. No snooping police would ever find what happened here last night. Yeah, another reason I'm sure this was set in the 70s, because it was a lot easier to get away with murder back then. Stethoscope on chest, I laid in bed and stared at the ceiling. Systole, systole, diastole. The heart contracts, the heart relaxes. Systole, diastole. I know, it really does. It really does. Modern technology makes it so much harder to come up with like stories like this. It really does. Which on one hand, I'm glad because real life stuff like this can happen a lot less. On the same time, it makes things worse for a writer. It really makes a writer's job difficult. Unless you find a way to work around it, like, you know, making it legal for 12 hours every year in 5 particular cities and you have aliens in the mix, you know. Sometimes you can make it work. At first, I tried to rationalize my actions. It was Ashvin's fault. He was the one who blackmailed me and harassed me. Any woman would have acted in self-defense. There's a difference between self-defense and just straight up brutal murder. Nice promo, dude. Excuse you. I'm playing a visual novel made in Ren'Py. I'm allowed to talk about visual novels made in Ren'Py. That just so happened to be developed by yours truly, okay? He was the one who blackmailed and harassed me. Anyone would have acted in self-defense. Yeah, there's a difference between self-defense and just straight up fucking brutal murder. My heart continued to race. So much energy was pulsing through me, eager for more. I felt so alive. I snuffed a man's life out and felt more in control than ever. I no longer had to listen to his obnoxious jokes or conversations. The world would be better without him. With those thoughts in mind, the stethoscope's beats slowly lured me to sleep. It's a shame. Why is it always the lovable character who always dies first in these stories? Okay, I know why, but yeah, I know why. Because it hurts. Dr. Mala, have you seen Mr. Ashvin? I have not, but I doubt it's anything to worry about. Maybe he overslept? He's prone to doing that. Things were quiet for several weeks. A new technician joined the team, and I was finally back to performing surgeries in who knows how long. Tomorrow, however, would be the one I was most eager for, Luke. However, one thing was bothering me. Every so often I saw a police car parked by the hospital. This wasn't completely out of the norm if there were any workplace accidents or criminal activities that needed to be logged. But now, no one entered or left the car. It was simply stationed out of public view. It felt like I was being watched. You're not going to flake, right? Of course not. I'm Dr. Mala, the greatest cardiothoracic surgeon in the country. It was such a joy to operate on Luke again. When asleep, he even more so resembled an angel. From the sternum's opening, I could see the fundus of the liver and stomach, also inverted. If I could rip away the rest of the ribcage to view more, I would. I smiled when I saw his heart. It was the size of a human's fist, but I preferred to compare it to my fist size. I wanted to grasp the organ and hug it. I truly had found the holy grail of hearts, but its magnificence shone like a golden calf. A little sculpting here, some trimming there. I want a myocardial biopsy. It's essential to examine the removed tissue. Should I send the biopsy to the pathology lab now? No need, I'll be examining it myself. With a satisfied smile, I sewed him up. Valve artesia and prolapse I had seen countless times, but there was only one Luke. And thus concludes the operation. Great work, Dr. Mala. The patient would again be hospital bound for several days, utterly reliant on me. Until next time, Luke. Until next time. Excuse me, nurse. I'm looking for Luke Damien. Doctor, I'm Dr. Mala, Luke's surgeon. I'm afraid I can't let you in unless you're family. Are you immediate family? No, but then it was great seeing you. The exit is three floors down to the right. Doctor, my girlfriend was supposed to visit me today. Do you know where she went? She mentioned something about her father. I do hope everything's all right. This pattern continued for a week. Hours upon hours I spent talking to him in his recovery room and the lab, learning about his worthless opinions on the environment or animals. My two new technicians simply smiled and ran the tests. On the final day, I waved Luke off, already eager for his next hospital visit. As expected, I could hear the couple's screams plain as day. They were disputing for half an hour at this point. I am not dying! Yes, you are. Do you see how frequently you're sent to the hospital for tests and surgeries? Anytime I attend, your doctor gives me the nastiest of glares. You're being paranoid. Dr. Mala cares for me and my health. No, you're being naive. You need to stay away from her. Something about her frightens me. Are you jealous? No, but I'm worried. Please listen to me, Luke. I had heard enough. Sometime later, the girl stormed out of the house. Dr. Mala. Dr. Mala, what are you doing here? I apologize for this being so sudden, but Luke has urged me to drive you home this evening. Not necessary. I don't need a ride. I opened the truck to reveal rope. I wasn't asking. As always, we had our physical exam, though Luke's heart rate was unusually high. It's been 2 weeks and I've tried everything I could think of, Dr. Mala. I called, mailed letters, even asked her friends. It's just unsettling to disappear without warning. Where did she go? I placed my hand upon his trembling shoulder. I'm sorry for your loss. You believe she's gone? The last couple of weeks had her acting strange. She hardly visited me in the hospital, but I didn't think. Some partnerships are not compatible. She clearly didn't care for you or your health, which I might add is improving after your most recent surgery. Oh, according to your files, you had a birthday recently. I made this card for you. The card I passed was illustrated with little peonies. I was more experienced in drawing anatomical structures than flora, but Luke smiled all the same. Thank you. Sometimes it feels like you're the only person who cares. Okay, this is honestly hitting harder than it should, just because this just is a bit relatable. I'll just leave it at that. How about I treat you to dinner at my house? Luke, I feel like we have a connection. Fate has brought us together. What if I treat you instead? You've done so much for me. It seems the least I could do. Sounds delightful. Can you cook? There's some vegetarian dishes I've been meaning to try. I can cook pretty well. I'd be happy to. He had a big grin, the kind that made my heart flutter. Tomorrow night. Understood, Dr. Mala. Please, call me Agatha. Luke's heart was a unique perfection, one that I could stop staring at. Was that supposed to be couldn't stop one that I couldn't stop staring at? Was that what that was supposed to be? Luke's heart was a unique perfection, one that I couldn't stop staring at, like an addict who couldn't stop their preferred substance. Oh gee, I missed that. That's fine. That's fine. Just things like that always slip through. Trust me, things like that always slip through. I remember when Showtime released and a streamer was streaming it. Yeah, there were some errors I still missed despite reading the story a bajillion times. Don't worry, things like that always slip through. Because my thing has always been in situations like this, as long as you understand what was being said, then it doesn't matter too much. For some reason it was a bottle, others a pipe, but for me it was his images. I gazed at them from home. I longed for them at work. I dreamt at them at night. Finally, our two hearts would become one. For a second, I was saddened by a thought. Even I was boring. My heart was dull, monotone. Slightest delightus was such a curse. Did I truly deserve him? I languidly gazed at my dresser. The muse's poster was preserved in beaker fluid, caressing Luke's valve. She put the poster in the fluid? I picked him up without a hitch. We walked inside my kitchen and I placed my blazer on the coat rack. Though I was slightly taller than Luke, my apron fit him. The woman's apparel had really accentuated the curvature of his hips. I'm preparing a veggie stir fry for you while I observed him cook until I became bored. From behind, I wrapped my arms around him. Agatha? Did you really bring me here just to make dinner? Or for something else, something more private? Please, don't leave me. Are we moving a little fast? No wine? I don't own any. Consuming too much alcohol will lead to cirrhosis. Maybe you'd feel more comfortable if I was wearing something a little more familiar. He looked off, tugging at his sleeves and uncertain of his next move. Shall we continue this in my room? I held his hand, leading him to my bedroom. Then I remembered all of Luke's photographs on my walls. Yeah, that'd be awkward. Wait, stay right here. I want to make this night special. There were hundreds of photographs, possibly more. I shoved as many as I could into dressers and under the bed. Agatha, is everything okay in there? Dr. Mala will see you now. I opened the door, wearing nothing but my lab coat. Medical tools and jars were on display. Tucked behind them all was his valve. Luke gulped. I pushed him onto the bed, straddling him while shoving several more x-rays off the bed. Yay for filter. Yeah, no kidding. Thinking back to my first fantasy of him, I carefully decided what my next seductive words would be.
I take it this is your first time? My face must have been red as an artery. So many fantasies of this moment, and he already had me off balance. Is that a problem? I thought men didn't like whores. I never claimed you were. I'll accept you any way you come. Being used goods was something I only imagined Ashvin saying, though Luke only radiated kindness. There was no need for me to be snarky. It's okay if you're nervous. Let me take the lead. I think you'll like this. As the doctor, I am always in charge, and this was a new feeling, a good one, an unknown itch being scratched after so long. So this is what a man and woman did together. I had been missing out. Enough. Enough. Get inside me already. You've been a good little boy tonight, and the doctor wants to give you a lollipop for such a great checkup. I'm sorry. This is actually kind of making me cringe. in a cute kind of way. In a cute way. Wow, doctor, you see me more than naked. Pretty freaky, huh? This position felt too vulnerable. The man could see every inch of me. Likewise, I could see all of his comforting body. His chest bore the marks of my craftsmanship. Yeah, Arcadia, I figured this probably wouldn't be the game for you. I figured this would be the game for you. But, you know, it is what it is. Just bore the marks of craftsmanship. I couldn't help but trace my finger along his scar, the evidence of the fantastic work I'd done on him. Maybe I'd get to do more later. I want to hear you. As in moaning louder? I'll try. No, your heart. I need my stethoscope. Even now? Luke reached to grasp my hand, but found it clenched with the stethoscope's handle. When instructed, Luke moved the drum in circles. The heart my ears. The heart beating filled my ears. My entire body felt like it was on fire. Would you listen to that? A lovely 65 beats per minute. The phalmic area. Now the mitral area. No murmurs, no further stenosis. I truly had done a miraculous job. I was a bona fide genius. Look at my creation being sexually active with its master. Yes, keep it at Herb's point. Herb's what? I love your oscillations. I love it. They're the best. Oh, I'm getting close. That's a good patient. You passed with flying colors. As we panted side by side, sharing pleasure, I looked to the beaker where my muse was, her face frozen with a wink. It was comforting that she was proud of me. Yeah, she knows how to get her roleplay on, that's for sure. Luke's arms wrapped around my waist. The sensation was warm and pleasant, as if I could spend out forever in this embrace. I felt content. Maybe this is what I always wanted. His breathing turned to gentle snoring. I soon followed suit. The house was still dark when I woke up and my bed was missing a person. For a second, I wondered if everything was a dream. The events happening that night were too good to be true anyway. I touched downwards. My crotch was still damp with the fluids of both woman and man. My menstruation had ended several days ago, so there was no chance of pregnancy. Like a ghost, I drifted through the empty house. Did he leave? I peered out the window. Oh fuck, what did he find? What did he find? Some houses away, I spotted Luke in front of a telephone booth. Did he find all the x-rays, the pictures? He was whispering into the receiver, every so often glancing in my direction. I already owned a house telephone. For whatever reason would he... My blood ran cold. He knew. Somehow, some way. I thought I'd been thorough, covering my tracks so well. What specifics did he know? Was it his girlfriend? Ashvin? Both? Eventually, Luke hung up and stuck back inside, running into me in the living room. Oh, I didn't mean to wake you up. Where were you? Just a work thing, nothing important. Listen, I'm not usually forward, but I want to talk about last night. How do I word this? It felt like you were ignoring me in favor of my examinations, and being reminded of them, even in the bedroom, gets me out of the mood. I gave it a whirl for you, but it's not my thing. Please, I'd prefer it if you dropped me off at my house. Is that right? Is that it? Are we no longer...
Give me some time to think about it. We drove back in excruciating silence. He did not wave goodbye. Maybe he saw his valve. Maybe it was the pigskin I used to practice sutures with. I looked at my muse for guidance, but she didn't respond. Luke was lounging on the couch, doing nothing out of the ordinary, but even that was suspicious. He moved to gardening. Was he cultivating poison to feed me with? Now he's picking up a phone. Was he informing the police about me? Doctor, do you need any coffee? Playing innocent, I see. The nurses knew too. Everyone knew. A siren blared behind me, which meant even the police knew. This was the end. They're just waiting for me when I'm least expecting it and nab me up. I won't let that happen. I need more scalpels, more tools. The car passed by, but I knew it was all a fluke. Okay, she's officially entering her Joker arc. I paced around my room, trodden upon several dozen times were even more photos of Luke. I just needed to see Luke again. He would solve all my problems. Just one more surgery with him. Nothing more, nothing less. Yeah, she's officially entered her Joker face. Rip out his inverted organs and hoard them all to myself. Nothing more, nothing less. I dunked my hand into his beaker, giggling from a burning sensation of the formaldehyde. I retrieved his valve, such a pretty mitral valve. Thin, pearlescent, just like him. Then I licked it before immediately spitting it out. Formaldehyde tasted as good as it felt. That wasn't very wise, Agatha. Yeah, you need to dial it like -1 million. You need to dial it back -1 million, Agatha. The bus would always pick Luke up at 7 a.m. I would catch him before then. I was currently camping out in the bushes at 5 a.m. That was plenty of time, yes. When the clock struck, I stumbled towards him, brushing sticks and leaves out of my hair. What are you doing here? This is my house. There's no time to explain. It's an emergency. Surely it can wait. When was the last time you slept? You look exhausted. Exhausted? I put my makeup perfectly on today. My muse hardly compares to my beauty. Luke, I've saved your life. Now save mine. Are we going to do this the easy way or the hard way? Luke was dragged through the house, forced to wade through its clutter. He had spied some tools in the bedroom during their last encounter, but now it had overtaken the house like a tornado. Glass from a discarded vial crunched underneath his foot. It was taking all of his willpower to not turn around. Agatha, a little further, please. Don't stop. Eventually, the man reached a table with diagrams. His eyes widened when he realized what was on them. That's when I swung the shovel. Since when did Joker and Black Widow have a child? Not a bad way to describe it. Not a bad way to describe it. Luke's eyes opened to find himself strapped into a makeshift surgical table. I was leaning over, stethoscope on his chest. How fast his heart was beating. 85 BPM. No, an impressive 90 BMP. Was it supposed to be BPM or BMP? Because I thought it was beats per minute. Frick. BPM, okay, that's what I thought. But I don't know medical stuff, so I just couldn't tell. I mean, that's what it defaulted to. That's what it defaulted to in my mind, but yeah, it's fine. We could have been something, Luke. Why did you betray me? It's entirely your fault. He attempted to mouth something, but it was incoherent. Can't speak? I'm currently setting up the anesthesia. It paralyzes your muscles, including the diaphragm. Consider this a favor. You were bound to become another researcher's lab rat, as if I could have let you escape my clutches. Same for that girlfriend of yours. The word girlfriend was emphasized with a sneer. I began placing ECG electrodes on his chest. I examined her for any abnormalities. I might have kept her around if she did. Alas, she was a simple plain Jane. Why do you surround yourself with such boorish pests? Shh, don't cry. This will be your final surgery and my greatest one yet. I'm your doctor. I promise I'll do everything in your best interest. Yeah, Luke's dead. I placed the anesthetic mask on his mouth. My smile widened open upon seeing his closing eye, rife with fear. They forced themselves to stay open, but were powerless against the anesthesia. Sweet dreams. With no nosy medical staff I could admire as long as I wanted, I felt the excitement rush to my crotch and couldn't help but rub at it. Okay, Agatha. I worked normally at first to expose his cavity, savoring the scythes, but those savors became gluttonous. I placed my hand into his beating heart, no longer barred by ribs and skin. Warmth and life pulsed beneath my palm, beckoning me closer. Without a shadow of a doubt, I was the goddess of this body. It was time to begin, the moment I have spent all these months preparing for. I plunged my scalpel into his carotid, gleefully severing its arteries. It was like I was a juvenile playing in snow again, though far more crimson. The vena cavis were next, splattering their contacts across my masked face. The ECG's shrieks went flat, but I could hardly care. I was enraptured in cradling my prize. My beautiful golden calf. The heart ceased beating. I felt as empty as the cavity in front of me. Human lives were far too delicate. You're a cute little heart, aren't you? I'll take good care of you. I placed the inverted organ into the largest vial. For the rest of my life, I would be inseparable from my greatest love. I attempted to brush back a loose lock of hair, but sighed. Being handcuffed to the table greatly restricted my movements. Dr. Mala, I never thought we'd Hold the fuck on. Dr. Mala, I never thought we'd revisit each other like this. Hold the fuck on. You may not remember me, but I do. 3 years ago I suffered a valve prolapse during work. You operated on me and saved my life. I'm utterly indebted to you. Okay, I was worried. I was worried for a second. I was worried. I'm utterly indebted to you. We've been tracking you ever since a person went missing, someone quite close to you. It didn't help that your hospital reported stolen equipment and you neglecting work for the past couple of weeks. We found the remains too. There are very few people who could dismember with such skill. If you were smarter, you might have gotten away with it. Smarter? I am 1,000 times more intelligent than everyone in this room. I am the master of a body. No, a goddess. You're all worthless sacks of meat. Well, except for the man next to you, but my work has left him boring. You're nothing worth my talent. You're not worth my talent anymore. Why? Why did you go and do such a horrible crime? That victim had hopes and dreams, and you snuffed it out with pure malice. I thought you were a good woman. Now you're just a little Miss Mengley. It's Doctor. Are you not afraid of the electric chair? I'll be pulling this lever any moment. Isaac, you need to calm down. I could hardly contain my laughter from their meaningless threats. Let's get this over with. Do you have any regrets or final wishes? My only regret is I won't be able to perform my own autopsy. I would have loved to see what the sparks did to my own heart. Go ahead, light me up like a firework. You're a monster. I smiled. And... wow. Whew. Wow. That was intense. That was intense. There is one more route left. You are not wrong. If you're there, you are not wrong. All right, I just need a moment to process all that. I just need a moment to process all that. It's just... oh. See, that's the thing. That's the thing with me. I like these kind of stories. I like these thriller, horror-ish scenarios. I mean, crying out loud, that's essentially what the Red War stories are. They're like that. But they still... oh, they still get at you. That's how you know. That's how you know you've got a well-written story. That's how you know you've got a well-written story. Oh, fuck. Okay, well, yeah. As the dev himself stated, we do have one more route. So, last time we just straight up disposed of the body. So, let's examine him first this time, because now we know he didn't die right away. My first step was to reassess the situation. Maybe I could frame this as a car accident. After all, that idiot refused to wear a seatbelt. Yeah, Dev's in chat. There you go. I peered down. Actually, before I get too far, I'm gonna go get some water because my throat's actually hurting. So, yeah, I will be right back. In the meantime, feel free to entertain yourselves somehow. Yeah, Ashvin's still my favorite though. That's probably all the more reason. Again, that's probably done on purpose because generally the favorite character always dies first. Usually. Well, I say that, but I don't know if that would necessarily be the case for either of the Red War stories because the first death wasn't exactly who you'd consider the fan favorite, but you know. But the favorite character always dies at some point. Let's be real. I guess that's more so my favorite one. The favorite character always dies at least at some point. Yeah, beefcakes. Oh yeah, Thug. I know you love your beefcakes. I mean, you're engaged to one, so obviously you love your beefcakes. I peered down his body, blood still dripping from his shattered nose. The cranial trauma was severe, coma-inducing at the minimum. Next, I held his limp wrist. I froze. Though faint, there was still a pulse. I'm a fool. Should I kill him this instant? I already made such a mess of myself today. Should I really tempt further disaster? The forest. I could dispose of him there. Using every ounce of my strength, I dragged the heavy body deep into the... Oh, okay, so now we don't say his weight. Now we don't say that he's 180 pounds. Dragged the heavy body deep into the woods, far enough from the road. My eyes shut tight in frustration as I realized I lacked a shovel. A ditch was good enough. I kicked him in, the body letting out the faintest of groans. The forest fell quiet again, aside from my panting. I fled back to my vehicle. Spent the next several hours cleaning myself in the car. With a bleach-soaked towel, I wiped down the dashboard and any crevice where blood was splattered. My handiwork was so impeccable, not a drop remained. No snooping police would ever find what happened here last night. My shower was equally as feverish. There was so much blood to scrub off. I rivaled Lady Macbeth. Damn. Systole, diastole. The heart contracts, the heart relaxes. Systole, diastole. The shower's duration had no effect on my calming body. How rapidly my heart was beating and ready my lungs were to leap out of my chest. It was all his fault. He was the one who blackmailed me and harassed me. Any woman would have acted in self-defense. With no shovel, I prayed an animal or the weather would dispose of the evidence. And if they didn't, how would anyone trace him to me? Dr. Mala, have you seen Mr. Ashvin? I shook my head and continued on with my day. Every day, Ashvin started off work and left at the same time as me. It was eerily quiet with him gone, but the silence appreciated. With no Luke today, my next course of action was to do rounds. Miss Harbinger? I'm great as ever. My back is killing me, but that's ancient history. How are you today? Doing fine. At home, I was practicing suturing in preparation for returning to surgery. After all, I couldn't let my skills rust. One of the stitch's needles pricked my finger. Annoyed with my blunder, I reminded myself that this was simply practice, not an indication of my performance weakening. While grabbing my first aid kit, I noticed my wall of Luke's looked different. Replacing one of Luke's x-rays was a photo of Ashvin in the middle of flexing his biceps. That goofy smile on his face was mocking me. I had no memory of taking such a photograph. I ripped it off the wall and threw the crumpled ball in the trash. Could the technician have put it up himself? Of course not, he was dead. No, if he was dead. His demise was never confirmed with my own hands and eyes. With trembling hands, I drove by Ashvin's house. I brought a shovel, bone saw, and trash bags. His lights were on, but I couldn't see anyone inside. I needed to find the body and obliterate it for good. It was the only way to put my mind at ease. I walked around the forest but couldn't find the ditch. Maybe it's for the best to get my mind off the technician. I neglected Luke's in-house wellness checks for far too long. I peered through the curtains. The way the two twisted and intertwined underneath the covers reminded me of maggots. They were laughing. Laughing! Have they no shame? I returned home in disgust. Everyone surrounding me was such pigs. Things were quiet for some time. I was told I could finally perform surgeries in the upcoming weeks. Soon, there would be one I was most eager for, Luke. However, one thing was bothering me. Every so often, I saw a police car parked by the hospital. This wasn't completely out of the norm. If there were any workplace accidents or criminal activities that needed to be logged. But now, no one ever entered or left the car. It was simply stationed out of public view. It felt like I was being watched. It was such a joy to operate on Luke again. When asleep, he even more so resembled an angel. From the sternum's openings, I could see the fundus of the liver and stomach, also inverted. If I could rip away the rest of the ribcage view more, I would. Oh, maybe in another life. I smiled when I saw his heart. I truly found the holy grail of hearts, but its magnificence shone like a golden calf. I want you inside me, Doctor. Split me open. Of course, anything for you. Wait, I am anesthetized. Why was he talking? Deeper. Touch me where no one has ever touched me before. Examine my inaugural canal. And that wasn't Luke's voice either. It was deeper. Oh, it was deeper with a foreign accent, like it was... Oh, fuck me. Instead of tiled floor, I found myself on muddy earth. Maggots and ants were crawling all over the entire body. The acrid smell of formaldehyde and death was surrounding me, suffocating the air. I wanted to scream, and I wanted to puke, but I was frozen in place. Those eyes, those judging yellow eyes were boring into me. He knew what I did. Why are you stopping? Continue, Doctor. I awoke covered in sweat. He was still out there. And gathering my breath, I found myself in front of the empty terrarium of my snake. Its 3-chambered heart laid before me. All of its viscera and vessels were detached. Did she fucking kill her snake? Oh, there's only one person. Oh, yeah, there's only one person who could have committed such a monstrous act. The woman currently holding the still wet scalpel. All that flesh I was cutting into. Was it during my nightmare? Apollo. Fuck. You couldn't have avoided the pet dying trope. You could not have avoided the pet dying trope. You had to go with the pet dying trope. I suppose I can't blame you. I suppose I cannot blame you. There's a reason the trope keeps popping up. Again, I had to hold back my vomit. Tears poured from my eyes as I cradled the body. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry is important to the story. Yeah, I know it wasn't just thrown in there for the sake of shock value. I know, but I know I hate animals dying. I hate animals dying. Okay, leaving for fireworks and just wanted to say, oh, well, thank you for stopping by. Yeah, you came in at an interesting time, but yeah, I'm glad you stopped by. I entered the examination room to find a light-skinned technician fine-tuning the electrocardiogram. I'm Adam. It's a pleasure to work with you all today. I'll be filling in for Mr. Ashvin. Before I reached the table, the anesthesiologist put up his hand. Dr. Mala, please stay by the students. Treating me as if I was some ignorant kid. It was an insult to stand so close, but so far away from the surgical table. Thug, you're gonna hate me. From surgical table. You're gonna hate me for this. No, I told you you don't have to feel bad for not watching if you're busy. I told you this. It's okay. You go out and have fun. It's so fun. You go out and have fun with the fireworks with your family. It's okay. I am now beginning the surgery. I will be using a miniature saw to cut through the breastbone. This is what I was supposed to be doing. The new technician on cue started to read out the various machines' details. Does everyone see the pericardium? The protective membrane. Now I feel bad. Now I feel bad pointing these out. This the membrane that encloses the heart. I will be cutting through this as well to properly access the art. Hey, this is why we have patches. Okay, this is why we have patches. I'll talk to you later. Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, we'll talk later. It's okay. We'll talk later. I'll be cutting through this as well to properly access the organ. I peered over. The smell of meat made my stomach churn. Yeah, I guess now that I think about it, it would make sense for a surgeon to want to be vegetarian because, yeah, I'm sure the whole meat thing, cutting up meat thing would definitely take a toll. So yeah, fair enough. I was reliving my nightmare. Apollo was flayed. Apollo was being flayed. Ashvin was being exsanguinated. I shoved my way through the group before I fainted. I can't. She has more than a few surgical screws loose, but it's all worth it. But it was all worth it for that beast of a body, even if half the time she attempts to kill me. Yeah, you might have fun with this one. You really might have fun with this one. Millie and Harper say hi. Hi, Millie. Hi, Harper. It's all worth it for the beast of a body, even if half the time she attempts to kill me. Who does she think she is anyway? Not only had I just buried Apollo, I couldn't stand the sight of surgery. My fingers were covered in bandages from my many failed sutures. I felt more miserable than ever before. If only the floor would swallow me up. Oh, poor sweetheart. Look at how high-strung you are. Why don't you loosen up? It's been so long since the last time you treated yourself. Oh boy. Scrolling through the doors came Ashvin, hand in hand with my muse. My, Agatha. I didn't think you were the type to keep such sensual imagery. Finally, someone who sees me for I am. Yeah. Alright. Yeah, now she just sees the. Oh, yeah, as if she wasn't clearly already insane. Yeah, talk to you later. Have fun. Agatha, you're more like me than you know. You need me. I know you've regretted every second since you hit those bricks. I forgive you. So how about you get that suit off and put on something sexier? She'll do it with pleasure. I reached for my buttons and started to undo them one by one. I took no joy in the act. Oh yeah, he's a beefcake. Likewise, Ashvin started to remove his own clothes. As the muse was already naked, she watched in curiosity. When I was done, I pulled open my shirt and bra, exposing my butt. My bust. I can never get used to that body of yours. You're disgusting. And what does that make you? You're stripping for us. I dare say you're enjoying it. Beef, beef, beef. Yeah, exactly. Like the sight? I like it quite a lot. I want you so fucking much. Man, part of me feels like I could part of me wants to get into voice acting for Atone games. I don't know, I know there's a market for it. With a sigh, I moved towards the bed. I viewed sex with him similarly to making the bed or doing the dishes. A chore. But chores had to be done, and I was resolved to go through with this. There we go. Hop right on top.
Don't be shy. I climbed on top to him and straddled his lap. The smirk on his face made me want to throw up. Oh, I'm sure it is fun. I'm sure it is fun. Is this truly what a woman desires? It all seemed so mundane. The feeling was interesting, unusual, foreign, but not wrong. My head turned upwards so I wouldn't have to look at the disgusted smile on his face. All you had to do was put out, and now you've unlocked the world of pleasure to lose yourself in. I tried to tune out his moans. Did he have to be so loud? I'm getting close. Move your hips faster, whore. I'm going to pump so much into you. The hard part would be saying lines like that with a straight face. Don't call me that. What, whore? You're the one tauntingly shaking your hips. Would you prefer harlot, slut, skank? If you won't shut up, I'll make you. That icy anger of yours is so sexy. My fingers slithered around his throat before clasping at the back of his neck. Oh, your hands are marvelously skilled. Be careful not to strain those surgeon's fingers. Why were you enjoying this? You should be terrified, begging for mercy. He's a masochist, that's why. Tighter, tighter. Yeah, he's a masochist. I felt anything but good. I felt disgusting. My muse was wrong. I yanked the muse's poster off the wall, ripping it and ripping it. That stupid smirk of hers was torn into several dozen pieces. Surrounding it were more Ashvin photos, creeping onto the wall like fungus, soon suffering the same fate. Oh yeah, they literally are all Ashvin now. My rage refused to subside. I kicked over the trash can, which spilled out several condoms, freshly used. Fuck. Horrified was an understatement. My sex with Ashvin was all a sick fantasy conjured by the muse, not reality. But where did those condoms come from? If it's so easy to put out for others, why not me? Others. I couldn't have, nor could I bear to think about it. It was Luke I wanted, not anyone else. I was no necrophiliac either. I murdered a man and hid the body. I felt the warm blood, heard his agonizing whimpers. I really did do it. That's why a police car was tracking my every move. I must find the body and put it to rest before I was discovered. His flesh would be skinned like livestock, his eyeballs pluckered out, his entrails scattered to the wind. I should have abandoned him by the large oak tree. Or was it by the cockroach-infested ditch? Did a storm move the body to the lake? He should be close, but where was he? Ashvin, where are you? Every day grew worse than the last. After work, I searched for anywhere I could have dumped his body. My nails became dirtier from how I clawed through every raised mound of dirt to find him. I burned my hand by knocking over my formaldehyde jars for the faintest hope that I somehow dispose of him there. Every search was unsuccessful. When I returned home, I used more condoms strewn everywhere. I found more used condoms strewn everywhere as if to mock me. Sometimes it was empty boxes of morning after pills or rope that wasn't my own. Fuck, dude. She's really going fucking cuckoo. She really is fucking cuckoo. When I found a negative pregnancy test, I began to leave work early for my in-vain hunt. Ashvin was in the hospital. Ashvin was in my home. Ashvin was in my mind. The technician was inescapable. I stopped dolling myself up. Doing so reminded me too much of him. I mean, to be fair, I would think anybody would go crazy after committing a murder, but, you know. Oh yeah. Doctor, is everything all right? You look exhausted. I'm fine. I'm doing fine. I picked at my bandages, now coating my wrists and nearly creeping up my forearms. Several were starting to fall off. Where's Mr. Ashvin? Will he be running any more tests? Ashvin? Why are you asking about him? Doesn't he need to be here for the tests? I kind of miss him. The new tech hired isn't as sociable. Tests? Screw his tests. We don't need Ashvin. I can do everything by myself. Anesthesia, echocardiograms. I only need myself to perform surgeries on you. You're all that matters, not that freak. You and me, forever. Stay away from me. The man attempted to run, but I easily matched his speed, closing in. Get back here, Luke. Let me operate on your cute little heart. We are going to do this the easy... Are we going to do this the easy way or the hard way? He stumbled at first, gripping the lobby's rails before the arms went slack. Everyone watched him collapse on the floor. What the hell is wrong with you, Agatha? Are you trying to drive him into a heart attack? Go home. Go home right now. Christ, I think he is having an arrest. Someone bring him to a defibrillator. Before I could step in, a doctor ran to the convulsing patient's aid. The staff's expressions were clear that I was not welcome back. I rushed out before I made things worse. I know you haven't slept in several days, but you need to get a hold of yourself, Dr. Mala. A siren blared behind me. My blood ran cold. This was the end. Just another hysterical woman. That's what they're gonna think. All you did was go and prove them right. Dr. Mala wasn't cut out for this. The police car passed by, completely ignoring me. Leave me alone, I'm begging you! The valve beaker shattered against the wall. None of the photos of the wall were Luke anymore. It was all Ashvin, smiling, flexing, him with me. I couldn't rip them up fast enough. It's all his fault! It's all his fault! I had to put an end to the madness once and for all. I got gasoline cans. So many of them. My stitching skills had diminished, but lighting a match was a simple task. His plain house was consumed in an aura of orange, red, and yellow. My cathartic laughter joined the rising flames. Given enough time, hopefully, the flames would spread further into the woods. Wherever he went, the fires of his skin would catch up to him. My initial sense of victory faded quickly. Perhaps it was a moment of clarity. The remnants of my conscience screaming out in agony. Yeah, at least in the other route, all she did was murder. Here, yeah, she's committed arson. That's 2 crimes. I was such a monster. Officers, I've committed a crime and need to turn myself in. A dam of emotions burst loose as I blubbered about everything that transpired. The car, the snake, the arson. I had to get it all off my chest. One police officer continued to listen while the other left to investigate the scene. Ma'am, we couldn't find anything about an arson. She really has fucking lost it. No bodies in the woods either, except for a dead deer a hunter forgot to retrieve. As for missing people, there's only been one, you. A Sam Ashvin reported you missing early this morning. What? As if I was missing. I'm right here. Was this some kind of setup? A grand conspiracy to have me institutionalized? Yeah, I see it too now. A grand conspiracy? Yeah, literally. Yeah, now I literally see both inspirations now. One route is literally American Psycho. The other route is literally 1 hour photo. Yeah, I totally see it. And I love it. Was this some setup? A grand conspiracy to have me institutionalized? This torture needed to cease. Are you all right, ma'am? You're looking pretty pale. Do you want water? Have you eaten recently? I'm sure this must be frightening. No, I'm fine. Stop talking to me like I'm 6. I'm a surgeon and the best in the country. A master of the human body. And My voice cracked at the last syllable. Okay, let's just calm down, dearie. Ma'am, how about we call the hospital and ask for Mr. Ashvin directly? My fingers trembled. Also, Pumpkin Eater's mother on the wall. Holy shit, you're right. Holy shit, you're right. I completely missed that. Yeah, that's the mom from Pumpkin Eater right there in the back. Oh, that's so fucking cool. Oh, that is so fucking cool. My fingers trembled and pressed the designated buttons. Everyone in that hospital despised me. Of course they were going to hang up. You've reached Sam Ashvin. How can I help you? My chest felt tight from the sound of his familiar chipper voice. Where are you? Agatha? Oh, thank God you're alive. I'm still at the hospital, like I've always been. After the accident today, you were suddenly throwing a fit and left. I was worried sick you were going to do something dangerous. I wish the place had some beer, because I sure as hell need it. You can't be there. You were in the car when I... What car? I don't understand you.
After work, you keep begging me to come over for fun, then immediately act like I'm a phantom. That's no way to treat your boyfriend. Oh, God. I feel like I'm going insane with her. And I know that's the point, but upon hearing the word boyfriend, my legs gave out. Me with him? Over my dead body? No, his body should be the one that's dead. I'm so sorry for the trouble, officers. Stress from work has been really getting to her. Nothing made sense. His corpse should be smoldering alongside the remains of his house. How could any of this be true? Hello? Is everything okay, Agatha? Do you want your partner to pick you up, ma'am? Agatha? Hello? I screamed. Wow. Wow. Yeah. Literally one story was 1 hour photo. The other story was American Psycho. And I love it. Oh. Fuck, she's insane. She is insane. And we love her for it. Yeah, seriously, I very much absolutely did enjoy this. This is very much the things I love in visual novels. Obviously, obviously I'm biased because I make stuff like this, but at the same time, that's why I make stuff like this, because I feel like we need more of this stuff out there. And again, this is what I love. This is what I love. Like, it, by all accounts, it is an Atome story. A tome visual novel with multiple roots, but you reworked it into a thriller, and I love it. It is so freaking cool. You and your team did such a good job with everything. I know there was this afterwards segment. I know there usually is one. Yeah. Thank you for having the heart to play Amare Inversus. This Atome game was absolutely fun to make. There are a few stories out there involving villainous female or villainous doctor protagonists, especially both. In addition, there are barely any English adult Atomes. I wanted to make a game that combines all three aspects while keeping the spirit of Thugzilla's games. Medically accurate but fun. Yes, that is absolutely the best way to describe them. Dr. Agatha Mala is a cardiac surgeon, and Situs Inversus Totalis is a real-world condition. Cardiology is not my specialty, so I pushed myself to research its anatomy and surgical techniques. I dare say I had inverted love of this story as well. However, all good things must come to an end. For years, I have devoted as much passion as I could to my medical visual novels, and finally, I have been accepted into the medical school. Amare Inversus is my last game jam, with Object Ward and its upcoming side story The Cut being my final project. I won't be living the internet forever though, and you can find me on Discord as I develop my final games. Yeah, really is a shame that you're stopping this, but I completely understand, I completely understand. And what a great, wait, oh yeah, let's go. Yeah, what a great 3 games to end on. What a great 3 games to go on. Yeah, I'm definitely still looking forward to Object Ward, which you said, if I remember right, didn't you say that was coming out maybe sometime this year or sometime early next year at the pace you guys are going? But yeah, I am definitely looking forward to Object Ward because, this is, yes, okay, good. So yeah, for clarity's sake, less than a year. Sweet. Definitely looking forward to it. Yeah, so for clarity's sake, Amare Inversus and Pumpkin Eater are the 2 thrillers, the through horror ones. Object Ward is like batshit insane Ren and Stimpy Looney Tunes comedy, okay? So they're about as tonally different as you can get, but I'm still looking forward to it. So that being said, since I have this for this very purpose, if anyone watching wants to check out any of those 3 visual novels, Object Ward, Pumpkin Eater, or Amare Inversus, even though I kind of just did this all myself for you guys to see, highly recommend you check them out. I especially recommend Pumpkin Eater, 1, because it's finished, and 2, it's very similar to this one. So, because this is more of a thriller, whereas Pumpkin Eater is more of a horror. So, yeah, definitely. Thank you for taking time. Yo, no, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I was gonna play it regardless, but I figured, you know what? I've gone back into streaming. Why not? Why not? You know? Why not? Why not get my reactions live? So, yeah. So, yeah, unless there's something else I'm missing. Oh. Yeah, we have our CGs over here. Okay, these are unlocked, but I'm guessing that's just because I had the NSFW filter on. I'm guessing that's what these 4 are. Because, yeah, there were only 2 choices, so I figured that's just what they are. They locked up for the double. Okay, that's what I figured. So, yeah, like I said, I'm going to go back and replay it anyway, just on my own, just for the sake of seeing, you know, the nudity. And yes, I know how that sounds, but again, it's more in the sense of this is how it was meant to be. So I'd rather the dev see, I'd rather, you know, experience it the way the dev wanted me to. But oh yeah, regardless, yeah, this was, yeah, exactly. It's thorough. Best way to put it. It's thorough. Oh boy. Yeah, what an experience. Yeah, seriously. Yeah, seriously, Thug. You really did you and your team. Yeah, 'cause I know I credit you, but I know you had a team of artists. So yeah, they all did fantastic job on this. Fantastic job on this. And yeah, and I'll be rushing to correct the spelling. Right. Yeah, get that day 1 patch. Well, I guess it's technically day 2 now, so day 2 patch out. But yeah, you and your team absolutely did a fantastic job, and I'm absolutely looking forward to the release of Object Ward. And you can bet your butt I'll be streaming that too. And that one's probably going to be I can imagine that one's definitely going to be more than just a couple hour stream, because you know that one's definitely a project that's like a kind of a shoujo or a Berry Street style length, so, or a Synthetic Girlfriend style strength, you know, just got to get all the shameless plugs out there. So yeah, this was a fun stream. This was it felt nice to play something a bit different, and it was absolutely nice to promote it. Gotta bounce. I have karate class. Talk to you later. Awesome job, kid. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, obviously the stream's about to end anyway, so yeah, good job. Have fun at karate. Yeah. So yeah, that'll do it for the stream. In terms of when I'll be streaming next, I'm still not entirely sure. I might stream on Tuesday. We'll see. We'll see, because I'm going to be busy that day, but we'll see. I'll if not, then Wednesday. If not, then I'll stream Wednesday. But so either Tuesday, Wednesday is when I'll stream next. We'll either do Demonologist or the Smash World of Light stream. So yeah, hope everyone's looking forward to that. Hope everyone enjoyed this stream, and hope you all have a great day. And remember to stay awesome. Catch you guys in the next one.